So the question has been this week, is it possible to mix a full-fledged song in BeatMaker 3 from start to finish? Vocals, instruments, everything, etc. Well, I'm here to tell you it is possible. I will be doing a full 2-part extensive tutorial on mixing and mastering in BeatMaker 3. I'm going to break down how I mix in BeatMaker 3. Let me say this, mixing and mastering are two separate things. I will say it again, two separate things. In part 1, I'm going to be doing the mixing aspect of it, and in part 2, I will be doing the mastering aspect of it. In the mastering process, I'm going to show you guys how I master in BeatMaker 3 and something extra that I'm adding in. I'm going to show you guys a plugin that I use to actually master this song that we're going to be going through. I use the Lursen Mastering Console by RK Multimedia. It is a dope program, and I'm going to share those two things with you guys in this video. Alright, like to hear it, like to see it. Here you go. You dig. Music always take my breath away. What up? It's your boy Marv from Beats, and I would like to welcome you to All Things iPad producer on a budget. How you guys doing today? It is Friday, and you know what time it is. This has been one of the most anticipated videos that you guys have been waiting on. I hope that it helped you all to be able to be more confident in the possibilities of using your iPad as a full-fledged DAW. In the weeks prior to, I have been talking about, just the limitless options and abilities that you can do with the iPad. So I'm hoping after this tutorial, it would give you guys the confidence that you need to be able to go all the way with this thing. A few things that I want to mention before we get into the tutorial. First, I don't proclaim to be a professional mixing engineer. I have been doing it for quite some while. My wife is an artist. I've always mixed and mastered her music. I am familiar with her voice and her techniques and stuff, so it's just naturally that, I would mix her music. Yeah, I have been doing it for a while. I have picked up certain techniques and I've learned how to implement those into a mixing environment. I will say this, through my experience, a lot of it has to do with thinking and hearing. Mixing is an art form. Every artist is different. My wife, my wife is a singer/rapper, but she's totally different from the next artist that I may work with. So what I may use for my wife may not work for that artist, and vice versa. So it's an art form, man. It's just like making beats. It's like drawing. You have to be able to create this. You have to be able to create this picture, and you have to be able to add all these elements into it to make it, art. So that's what it is, man. Mixing is an art form. You know what I'm saying? And it has a lot to do with thinking and hearing. I will say that. Something else I want to share with you guys, I was listening to this week from the sound engineer, and I've heard the interview many a times, but it just made sense for me to go back and refresh on it since I'm doing a mixing tutorial. It was by the engineer Bruce Sweeting. If you guys are not familiar with Bruce Sweeting is the engineer. He engineered Michael Jackson's Off the Wall and the Thriller album. Alright? For the actual song Thriller, he mixed it 96 times before Quincy Jones and the rest of the team said, this is the one. He mixed that one song 96 times. Just think about that. 96 times on one song. Yeah, that's a lot. It's this quote that he said. He was at some kind of engineering convention, and I'm gonna just quote what he said in layman terms. He said that in a recording session, you can have the best of singers, musicians, you can have all of the perfect elements. But if the recording and the mixing is not correct, the whole song is cold. So it is our jobs as sound engineers and mixing engineers to make sure that we get the best recording as possible as we can. And that go back to me saying that they mixed Thriller 96 times. This song that I'm gonna break down to you guys, I actually mixed it about 12 times. Yeah, about 12 times I went back in and mixed this song. Before we get into that, man, please, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, man, please do so at this time. I would appreciate you guys so much if y'all would, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, man. Hit that notification button, because when them videos are finished uploading and I hit publish, if you hit that notification bell, you're gonna get that you're gonna get that email saying, hey, your boy Marv done uploaded something. He done uploaded some goods. So yeah, please hit that notification button, hit the subscribe button, and without no further ado, let's get into this tutorial. All right, y'all. All right, so as you can see that through the mixer, all of the channel faders are down. Let's see. So, and there's a total of 20 tracks to this song. The dope thing about BeatMaker3 is that you can go all the way up to 48 channels on BeatMaker3. I'm telling you guys, that's why, man. This is a full-fledged dog. You can really do some things on this thing. So I have 22 tracks in total. Well, 21 minus the bank the default bank that automatically comes up. You can't delete that. So that's a total of 21 channels, right? So the first thing I needed to do, I needed to get some organization. So first thing I did, I went and labeled everything. I went and named everything, so it makes it easier for me to mix and know what I'm actually mixing. So that's something that you want to get in the habit of doing. You want to get in the habit of labeling your tracks. All right. Like I said in the beginning, I only had the 2-track beat up there. So now I added on all this. It would have been initially just 10 channels, but now when I added in the drums, the actual beat, it brought it to 21 channels. So that's my whole session. I went in and I fine-tuned, cut it, cut my audio, and got all of the dead and all that hissing space out of there. Yeah, it's much different when you're working with a singer. When it's a rapper, you know what I'm saying, you got about, you got a verse, maybe 2-3 ad-libs, and a hook. That's probably 2-3 channels. It's probably 2 channels at the most. But when you're dealing with singers, you got a little more. So, and this is not a whole bunch of vocal tracks that my wife have. We only have a total of 11 actual tracks that are her vocals, and that's her ad-libs, her lead vocals, the vamp, and the hook. So Go back to the channel. This is something that I've learned early on too. I heard Dr. Dre doing an interview, and he said in the interview, when he approaches the session, he always like to cut the faders down and work them up. So this is considered the Dr. Dre technique. So what I'll do, I'll start working on the beat first. All right. So the first thing I want to do to my master fader, I want to turn it up right between negative 20 dBs and 12 dBs. And the reason you want to do that on your master fader, because you want to give yourself headroom to master. You want to give yourself some headroom to be able to pump it up, add compression, limiter, EQ, and etc. So I always tend to like to mix between negative 20 dBs and negative 12 dBs, right in between there. So I'm gonna set my level right there. Then I'm gonna go down to my drums. Go down to the actual beat. So I'm gonna go and hit play. Start getting everything. Just start turning up, everything. So so you can start hearing everything. Now, this is with no EQing and none of that. So. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the mic off. I'm gonna cut the mic off right now, so I can kind of just get into the mixing. And if there's something that I need to mention, I'll just cut the volume back up. You know what? No, I'm gonna leave it up because I may forget to cut it up while I'm mixing. So. All right, so I'm gonna go to my audio effects, and I mentioned this too. Let me say this as well. I mentioned this when I was doing a live YouTube video. Presets are your best friend. I'm gonna say it again. Presets are your best friend. As you can see, these are stock audio effects that come with BeatMaker3. And what I like to do, I like to initially get acquainted with those EQs before I, start going on to the third party EQs. So this 6-band EQ, if you look at all these are all presets. These are presets that I have made, catered to a certain instrument, a certain sound. Like, for instance, these are my hi-hats. I got, 3 different hi-hat presets, depending on, what type of style of music I'm doing. I got 2 different EQ kicks. Make presets. And if you don't know how to make a preset, so just say, for instance, let me show you guys. That's the and I got this sounding the way I want it to sound. Hit the 3 dots right there, hit save preset, and type in, the exposure is kind of high. Dang it. Let's see if I can, okay, darken that up some. You go in and you hit save preset, and you type in whatever you want to name it and hit OK, and then it's saved there. Presets are your best friend. Utilize that. it saves you a lot of time when you're mixing. So, and okay, so let me get back to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and arm this EQ. Hear the difference? So the next instrument that comes in is that 808. So I'm gonna go over there, and if you can see over in the far corner, I have some saturation. I got a compressor on there, and I got a EQ as well. And that's not necessarily a preset. I just, adjusted the band shelf, how I wanted the 808 to sound. So here we go. So let me do this here. Alright, so I just wanted to put that in a loop so you can hear me as I make those adjustments. Alright. So on my 808, I got an EQ. I got some saturation in there just to give it some color and texture. And I have a compressor on there as well, to be able to catch that 808. Compression can be a tricky thing. You got to really understand how compression works. Compression can be your friend or it can be your enemy. That's one of those things that you have to learn how. It's an art to even using compression. So what I did, I just wanted to, I wanted it to still pop through. And let me start off by saying this. I don't know all these names and all the different technical names for all this stuff. All the stuff that I am telling you guys, this is just stuff. These are different techniques that I use. If once it sounds good to me, it sounds good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not about to give you all the decibels and the ratios and all that stuff. I just according to how it feels coming out of my speakers. So what you see here, if I wanted to be a little technical, I set my threshold at around 12 dB. Got my ratio at about 5.5. Got the attack. I got the attack up because I wanted to pop, but it's popping just enough to where it's not splattering. That attack is catching it. And then I added about 2 dBs of makeup gain. I'll open up my knee some, open up that knee width to be able to kind of spread that 808 out all the way through where it's not, squeezing it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this out of loop mode because those are the actual only 2 instruments that we're hearing in the beginning. So I'm gonna go ahead and open that up some. So now I'm gonna go to my kick here. All right, so that's a preset kick that I already have already set, so I kind of got that sitting the way I want it. Then I'm gonna go to my clap. And now with my snare, I have a preset already made. So, and then I want to roll some of that high end off of there. So as we listening to those just few instruments, it sounds pretty good. I haven't even put anything on my hats yet. So let me. And this is for my hats. And then I'll go back to the faders, and then I'll start to make adjustments there, since now I have my EQs on. Alright, now I'm going to add that EQ on my crash. And with the crashes, man, you want to be very, very careful, because them crashes hold a lot of that high end. So normally what I do, I make sure that my crash is sitting under all of the other drums, because it already have that tingy sound, and once you add that EQ, it can be a bit mess. So you want your crash to sit under everything. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and scroll this over to the chorus, so we can get the full song. Alright, so for that 808 Mafia little synth there, the 808 Mafia effect, that Kill Bill effect, I would say that. So what I did with that, I added some EQ, and I added a delay on there to give it that. But you want to be careful with your effects and stuff. Like your sound effects and your transitions and your risers as well too, because normally they hold a lot of high end as well. All right, y'all. Hopefully I don't lose my voice through this session. All right. We're gonna get through it. I'm in the thick of it now, so I better go ahead and roll it. So let me let you hear hear all of the drums and stuff together. And man, another thing that you want to make sure too, when you're mixing, you want to make sure that none of your drums and your instruments are going over that 0 dB. Now, if it's kind of just like popping, clipping over, that's cool. But if that booger is staying in the red, you got to be careful, especially with your kicks and stuff. I noticed when I got to the mastering process and I looked at the actual wave, the two things that were sticking out was that kick and that snare. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go back and do some make that kick and that snare fit in, fit in. I had to go back and make it fit in the mix, but yet still have that thump. So you want to be careful with that. And let me change the colors on here so you can kind of just see. Yeah. Let's see. No, I'm gonna keep it. Let's hold on. See, now you get a better idea of how, it's clipping in. So you want to start to, you want to start making those adjustments where, it's not up in there like this. You don't want it like that. So you want it just to, bounce over that 0 dB just a tad bit. Alright? Because I'm telling you, if you don't, it will show up in that mastering, in the mastering. And, a lot of that stuff you still may be able to catch, but, if you can just get it right in the mixing, man, it kind of make that mastering process a little more easier. All right, so that's about right where I had everything hitting. Now with that 808, see, I got that 808. I got the 808 hitting where you still get that fullness of the sound, but that compressor is grabbing that mug. All right, so let's go on to the other instruments. Now this is the lead synth in that actual song. You want to be careful with those synths too, because those synths can hold a lot of high end as well. So what I did, this is a preset that I have. What I did, I rolled some of that high end off. And not only did I roll some of it off, I added a compression to that as well. So that compression, the compressor is going to roll that high end off too. Them lead synths and the vocals have a tendency to clash. So that's why you want to be careful with lead synths. All right, so. And this here is just this is a synth that I call Tyson. Tyson synth. And I actually didn't add anything but just some EQ into that. Now on my keys, I added in an EQ and the invert that is a stock effect in BeatMaker. And like I say, I already have a preset for it. So, and it's giving me that nice little ambience and that reverb, where it's not a whole bunch, but you can hear that reverb is there. And that's the actual that's the main synth through the song. All right, and now of course Now I probably I granted I definitely mixed these a little different than what I did. I just wanted to kind of give you a scope on my process when I'm mixing. And the main thing is everything has to lay together. You know what I'm saying? The instruments have to lay in a pocket, and then ultimately those vocals have to lay into the pocket. All right. So now that I have the actual beat pretty much sounding good. Now we're gonna go on to these vocals. All right. So I'm a solo the vocals and let you hear it without anything on it. All right, here we go. All right, so here we go.
Said I'm pressing toward the mark of the price of the high calling, forgetting everything that's behind. Won't let it hinder me. Gotta keep up, gotta reach my goal.
All right, so that's my wife lead vocal. Now, yeah, I did that. Hit that by accident. All right, so I have one two three. I have three different vocal EQs for my wife. This last one that I came back and readjusted after the sixth mix, I titled it last. And my wife, uh, I'm gonna just let you hear.
Said I'm pressing toward the mark of the
So her
price
voice,
of the high calling.
she has a nice, well-rounded voice, uh, but the bottom in her, but she has a lot of well, I don't want to say she has a lot, but she has some bottom end to her vocals. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to roll some of that bottom off. All right, so what I did, this is without the
Said I'm
EQ.
pressing toward the mark of the price of the high calling, forgetting everything
And you can
that's
see that mug
behind.
clipping, right?
Won't let it hinder me. Gotta keep up, gotta reach.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave that there till I started adding in all the other effects. Yeah. All right. So
Said I'm pressing toward the mark of the price of the high calling, forgetting.
now this app here, the Mic Swap Pro, is a mic emulator. I have grown to really be fond of this program. I use Mic Swap in a lot of my sound design kits. They have different styles of mics that you can choose from. And man, I'd be lying to you and tell you if you know these joints don't sound pretty. I mean, I'd be lying to tell you that if they didn't sound good, I hope I'm saying that right. These mugs sound good. Like this joint here sounds like a Newman mic. I've heard a Newman. I've heard somebody sing vocals through an actual Newman mic, and it's dope. I highly recommend if you're doing any kind of vocal recording to pick this app up. It's the Mic Swap Pro mic emulator. I had an opportunity to email back and forth with I want to say the owner of this app, and asked him would he add in a couple of things, maybe like being able to add in an actual tube simulator emulator where you can make adjustments with the mic. So I can't remember what he told me, but I know he did say they had some special things coming up. But nevertheless, it is a good app to have. Mic Swap Pro. Mic Swap Pro, the mic emulator. So, and you might, and then you might be, well, you might be saying, well, Marv, why you don't have that at the top of the chain? Well, depending on where you put it at in the chain, it gives a different sound. Um, Man, I'm gonna have to leave that to another video of bringing them down into the chains. If I bring it up under the EQ, it'll sound different, so on and so forth. They kind of it gives off a different sound, but it's set right. It's set perfectly right between the EQ and the compression. So let it go.
Said I'm pressing toward the mark of the price.
Now I'm gonna add in my
of the
in my
high
compression.
calling, forgetting everything that's behind. Won't let it hinder me.
You see how now I'm out of that red?
Reach my goal. Gotta have a life to me. Can't quit now. I've gotta run on. See what the end gon' be. Make a lot of mistakes along.
Now that I have my vocals, I have that part of the chain good to where the vocals sound nice and solid, pretty warm, and I have that compression on there that's catching all of those harsh. I'm sorry. Now that I have the compressor kicking in, that's catching what it needs to be catching. Now I can start adding in some color. Now, this reverb here. Now I will say the inverb, the stock reverb in BeatMaker 3 is good, but this Cleaver by Cleveland, I hope I'm saying that right. It is this is hands down the best reverb that I have seen for iOS. They also make these in VSTs as well. But man, this mug here is beautiful. Actually, I have a whole suite of all of. I have all. Now I don't want to say I have all of their apps, but I have pretty much all of them. They make a good product, and this is the Cleaver. So.
Said I'm pressing toward the mark of the price of the high calling, forgetting everything.
I don't have it wide open.
Said I'm pressing toward the mark of the price of the high calling, forgetting everything that's behind.
If you're listening to it and you can hear it, I have that reverb just like it's just it's there. It's very light. When it comes to me recording my wife and start the processing of vocals and stuff, I don't like to have a lot of stuff going on. A lot of coloring. You know what I'm saying? I add some coloring, but I don't want a whole bunch of stuff going on. I want the vocals to really penetrate through the mix. So I add a little bit just for some color.
Said I'm pressing toward the mark of the price of the high calling, forgetting everything
and then
that's behind. Won't let it.
I'm using a stock delay that's in BeatMaker, and this is a preset that I've made. And even with the delay, I added a filter on there just to it's very subtle. You can hear that delay in there, but it's very subtle. So I'm gonna play it through so you can kind of hear it all the way.
Said I'm pressing toward the mark of the price of the high calling, forgetting everything that's behind. Won't let it hinder me. Gotta keep up, gotta reach my goal. Gotta have a life to me. Can't quit now, I've gotta run on. See what the end gon' be.
All right. So now that I have my lead vocal intact, sounding good, let's bring it in with the drums, with the actual beat.
Said I'm pressing toward the mark of the price of the high calling, forgetting everything that's behind. Won't let it hinder me. Gotta keep up, gotta reach my goal. has ever left on me.
And again, that if as we looking at the lead vocal and you see it clipping into the red, that's okay. You just don't want it to stay in the red. That is important. It is clipping right over the 0 dBs into to the 3s, so it's not, but it's not staying in that red.
Said I'm pressing toward the mark of the price of the high calling, forgetting everything that
I'm gonna bring it down a little more because I don't want to be popping all the way up into the 6.
Gotta reach my goal. God has ever left on me. Can't quit now. I've gotta run on. See what the end gon' be. Make a lot of mistakes along the way. Fall down, but I get back up every day. Holy Ghost is the coach, and thank God for grace. Jesus keep me lifted up. The road is hard, it's hot like fire, but I hold on to one desire.
All right, so you heard some pauses in there because there's actually some ad libs in there as well. So let me go ahead and grab those, get those in the mix, so it don't sound like my wife messed up. So
Jesus keep me lifted up. The road is hard, it's hot like Jesus keep me lifted up. The road is hard, it's hot.
and with those two ad libs, I added in this mic emulator here, the MS-SGA. It is a dynamic mic from the 1930s. Instant lo-fi audio in the most classy and clear sense. Great for harmonicals, vocals, and old-timey sound. So it kind of gave off that telephone, that very hollow sound. Once I start adding everything else, you get what I'm saying. So I'm gonna play it.
Jesus keep me lifted as I run this race. The road is hard, it's hot like fire. Even strong men dropping like flies, y'all. But I hold on to one desire. They ask me how I make.
All right. So now we get to this chorus. All right. So if you can see here as well, let me see if I can scoot this up. If you can see as well, I'm using some panning on the chorus. I'm not doing hard panning on the vocals. In the beginning, I did. In the first 5 mixes, I had those chorus on, hard left, hard right, and wifey was just not feeling it. It just didn't sound like everything was gelling. So I had to go back and make those adjustments. Also, I'm using a synth as well. I'm using an audio synth. So I have my auxiliary here, and instead of having, all of, everything in the chain here, what I did, and it makes sense it makes sense to, open up a bus or auxiliary synth when you're dealing with when you're dealing with your chorus and the vamps and stuff, where there's unison singing. So what happens, you're adding all of the same color to those particular channels. So only thing I have on the actual channels is EQing, and then here on the synth I have my mic swap emulator, cleaver, and I have a compressor. So let me go ahead and get this rolling real quick. So it's already set to the Newman. I already got my cleaver set. I already have that adjusted, and I actually opened up. I opened up the wetness on the reverb for the chorus. For the vocals on the chorus. Let me add in my compression. So then I go back here. Then I start to open up these channels.
They ask me how I'm making it. I've got my pressing shoes on. Say they wanna know how I'm making it.
Go ahead.
I got my pressing shoes on. They ask me how I'm making it. I got my pressing shoes on.
Let me let y'all hear that.
Wanna know how I'm making it? I got my pressing shoes on.
Let me turn up the auxiliaries in there.
They ask me how I'm making it. I got my pressing shoes on. Say they wanna know how I'm making it.
And even in the panning, you can still hear him left and right. You can hear chorus 2 coming out of the left side and chorus 4 coming out of the right. But it's just not that hard panning, and that was purposely did. I didn't want to do a hard pan on the chorus.
They ask me how I'm making it. I got my pressing shoes on.
And all the while, again, over here, my master fader
They ask me how I'm making
is still in between that negative 12 and that negative 6.
pressing shoes on.
Even in when I cut everything on. Let's see.
Know how I'm making it. I got my pressing shoes on.
Still in between. So my levels are still in between negative 12 and negative 6 on my master fader.
They ask me how I'm making it. I got my pressing shoes on. Say they wanna know how I'm making it. I got my pressing shoes on. If you can't walk with the footmen.
Now we're going to come up to another part where I have some vocals. I have some harmony vocals that's about to come up as well. And I have that running through the same auxiliary channel. Excuse me. And I only have EQ. I didn't arm this. I just didn't delete it, but I'm not using that compressor there. So I'm gonna arm my EQs.
They say I'm not begin to suffer as unto blood.
So let me start to bring those up into the mix.
They say I'm not begin to suffer as unto blood. They say I gotta carry. They say I'm not begin to suffer as unto blood. They say I gotta carry your.
I'm gonna let y'all hear the vocals by itself.
They say I'm not begin to suffer as unto blood. Man, yeah. Jesus did it best, withstood every test. Told me I could be just like him, conquered with his death. 3 days resurrection.
All right, and then I have my ad libs too. I have another set of ad libs on that second verse that I need to open up as well. The only difference here, I didn't. Let me see. Oh, I did use the mic swap. I used the mic swap on all of the vocals. Make sure I got it set to the Newman. And put that in the mix.
They say I'm not begin to suffer as unto blood. They say I gotta carry your cross, man, yeah. Jesus did it best, withstood every test. Told me I could be just like him, conquered with his death. 3 days resurrection. They say I'ma be just like him. Kept pressing to the hill of my salvation. Nothing pretty about the soul of be like him, conquered with his death. 3 days resurrection. They say I'ma be just like him. Kept pressing to the hill of 3 days resurrection. They say I'ma be just got my pressing shoes on. Say they wanna know how I'm making it.
And man, that's the mix. One thing I didn't add. Well, yeah. One thing about vocals, you have to make sure they're mixed and processed properly. Only thing that I didn't add into the chain was a de-esser. I actually added some de-essing in the actual mastering, the mastering process, which I will show you guys on how I did that in with the Lursen mastering console. So
They say I'm not begin to suffer as unto blood. They say I gotta carry your cross, man, yeah. Jesus did it best with.
I want to say the level's about right, about what of what I initially had it. But this is pretty much how I had everything rearranged. The EQ and the chains, that I just left that there and just armed them to let you guys hear it. And most importantly, man, I just wanted to let you guys know that it is possible to, record a whole song, mix it, and get a finished product out of, using BeatMaker3. And look, I use BeatMaker3, but I got homeboys that use Area Pro and love it. You got the Fab filters, plugins that automatically come with Area Pro. You got Cubase, got the Wave suite, iPad is the real deal, man. They had a conversation going on over in one of the iOS groups, and it was just kind of going back and forth. If you're gonna mix a song, you need to go to Logic or go to something on your computer or Pro Tools or something. I mean, I beg to differ. I beg to differ. I mixed this song and mastered it all on my iPad. I chose to go this route for her project. So I sit here to tell you guys that it is possible. And what's so dope about it? It's convenient. I can take it anywhere. I can, and still have the muscle and the power. You see here, I got 22 tracks. And man, I'm still, got enough muscle. If I need to add on, more plugins and stuff, man, I'm not lacking anything. So you can record and mix a song from start to finish using iOS. So we are almost 50 minutes into this video. So got to do some editing to cut it down some. But this is part one of how I mixed it. Please, man, if you guys have any questions or if there's something that maybe I missed, I tried to be as detailed as much as I could. I won't sit there and say that I think if I caught everything, that's probably something I missed. But if there is, please leave a comment below. And man, do me a favor, please share this video, man, so we can just bring awareness to what can be done on an iPad. All right. So man, this is your boy Marv from Beats. I'll be back next week with how I mastered on the iPad. All right. Until next week, y'all. Grace and peace.